What is going on? What's going on? I'm having a look at the grappling intelligence of Conor McGregor and the difference between jiu-jitsu for MMA and sport Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And Conor very clearly understands this super well, and he illustrates it very well in his fight against Max Holloway. So I got a few clips, in particular of the ground control, not the wrestling for this one, mostly just the ground control, but Conor's ground control and submission knowledge and decision making in this fight was just absolutely fantastic. So we're gonna go over this clip first. Conor is in the mounted position, and we have a huge bridge and turtle by Max. For Max does end up escaping the position, but I still want to talk about what Conor does right here, the mistakes that Conor could have made. So Holloway's got the overhook with his left hand, so he's got Conor's elbow trapped. He knows Conor's not going to be able to post effectively. He bridges in that direction. Conor brings his left hand over to stop to stop this bridge, but the bridge was too powerful. He didn't get his arm over quick enough, right? And we end up in this position right here. Guys, there's mistakes that you can make here for MMA for sure. And two decisions that could have been made would have been one for Conor to attack this arm right here. Okay? That's a decision a lot of fighters would have made. It's one that I wouldn't recommend unless you're losing the fight. It's late in the round and you want to attempt that finish. Or you need a Hail Mary is basically where it comes. You got to be sure. You got to be sure if you're going to go for that armbar, because if you mess up that armbar, Holloway's going to get on top of you and he's going to make you pay. And you do not want to put yourself in the bottom in MMA. You want to stay on top. You're not falling back for a sub unless it's late in the round or you desperately need to finish, and this is the only chance you're going to get that finish. And Conor has been dominating this entire fight, so he's not going to do something silly and go for this armbar. Okay. The other option is to attempt to go for back control. Okay. And you can do this. The primary way that I think most people would do this is to try and is for Conor to take his left foot right here and then try and put it in as a hook. Okay. Inside of Holloway's knee. And ultimately, I don't think this is a wise decision either, because of the placement of Holloway's arm. Holloway's going to be able to deter Conor's ability to get head height via this underhook. Holloway's going to be able to get head height himself, and more than likely what's going to happen is Holloway's going to end up top close guard. Conor would have to turn his hips all the way down. He would have to turn his stomach all the way down so that Holloway's hand would hopefully slip off onto the mat before he could go for back control. But in that time, it's likely that Holloway's going to get head height, and Conor's not going to be able to take his back. Conor would end up in a closed guard position where maybe he could start trying to work an arm drag and get to the back, but that's not what we're counting on for MMA. We're not counting. We're not giving people head height. We're not giving people hip height in MMA. So Conor makes what I believe to be the wisest decision that he could have, and that is to just take the leg off, turn in, and pummel right away. See, he's got the inside bicep tie. He gets the underhook, and he puts Holloway up against the fence and immediately goes into his next takedown sequence. And I think this really was the wisest thing that Conor could have done. Now, what should Conor have done to not have this happen? Well, the answer for me is he shouldn't have gone to mount. It's once he went to mount that this bridge became effective. Keep the foot in the 3/4. Stay in 3/4. Stay in 3/4 mount, okay? Start framing on the face to get postured up and ground and pound from 3/4. And once he goes, Holloway's probably not going to successfully get half guard on that leg because of the ground and pound. Okay, Conor should stay in 3/4 right here. He can start working to free that elbow by doing that spider walk with his fingers. Go walk, 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 lift that up. Start making Holloway uncomfortable with that. But ultimately, it was once he moved to mount that gave Holloway the opportunity to bridge. And Holloway was very smart in this, and Conor was very smart in this. But honestly, I think it was going to mount that was the biggest mistake. Okay, let's move on to this clip. Yeah, so this Conor gets there this time, right? He uses this hand, and he posts with the other hand, right? See how he brings that hand across the body? Conor is getting it this time, It's important that Conor keeps his hips over top of Holloway's hips. What Conor doesn't want to do is get up into a high mount. That's just going to make escapes like this a lot easier for MMA. Let's go into this clip right here. See how Conor goes into a high mount here? That's the kind of stuff that happens once you go high mount in MMA. It's not a great idea. It's hard to insert hooks in a high mount. You see where Conor's foot is right here? That he's way too high up on Holloway's back in order to actually effectively be able to ride him. Holloway, he's gonna slip out and get the escape. And this is all made possible by going to this high mount position. Guys, for jiu-jitsu, I absolutely love the high mount. That's what I recommend. This is what I teach my students. Get to a high mount in jiu-jitsu. You can attack Ezekiel from the high mount, and they're going to defend. You're going to get these overhook type positions. It's going to open up mounted triangles for you. It's going to open up arm bars. I do not recommend this for MMA. I don't recommend it for MMA. This because once you get up in that high mount and you're not controlling Holloway's hips, he's going to turn exactly like you just did and escape. Okay? Let's have a look at this clip. And this, I thought, was just beautiful work by Conor. Beautiful intelligence. Stays in the mounted position. He's not taking this armbar. He's staying here. Holloway is trying to tempt that arm. I mean, ultimately, he's trying to defend himself, but deep down, he hopes that Conor takes that arm. Conor's also not chasing the back here. He's not chasing the back. Okay, he's got his feet crossed underneath of Holloway. And I can't tell if he's pinching his knees together or not. It looks like he's... What's he doing? Is he pinching his knees? I can't really tell. I can't really tell what he's doing with his knees. But ultimately, he's staying focused on that top position. He doesn't want Holloway to escape. And one of the most common things that people do to escape is they kind of give up their back. They force the guy into a super high back control where they can slip him off. And they successfully slip him off. And that's what we saw happen in this clip. Once they get up into a high mount is a high back control, and you're able to get out. The submission defense up at the highest level is so high. It's so hard to finish a guy. There's not a lot of armbar finishes in the highest level of the current UFC, unfortunately. I wish there was, but it's just not how it is. It's super hard to finish a guy with an armbar. And although it is risky to put your arm out there because they might try and take it, it's a temptation to best ignore. Stay on top, ground and pound. And Conor just displayed fantastic knowledge of jiu-jitsu for MMA in this fight. And altogether, it was an absolutely beautiful ground control performance from Conor McGregor. And this fight, I don't even remember what year this fight was in, but it was a while ago. And man, it was just such fantastic. What a fantastic showing of ground control. I do think the biggest mistakes Conor made was going up to this high mount. Now, he did it with only a minute left, so maybe he was thinking sub. Maybe he was thinking, I'll get to the high mount and I'll isolate the arm. Because it's hard to go for an armbar from that low position. And he was trying to walk up that elbow, like so in this clip. He was trying to walk up that elbow in order to go for a head and arm choke a couple times, it looked like. So maybe he started thinking, I want to go to a high mount, and maybe I can isolate an arm and go for an armbar. When there's only a minute left in the third round, he thinks he's cooked max of his energy, and whatnot. And maybe he thinks that now he can get it. And maybe that's why he did what he did. So really, it wasn't that crucial of a mistake. But if he did want to take the armbar, he would have had to have pinched his own elbow right here, closer to his knee. And that would have trapped Holloway's glove into Conor's armpit. Okay, let's have a look at this a little bit. Right here, Holloway's able to bring the hand in. That's not going to be possible if Conor gets his elbow and attaches it to his knee. Okay, or at least makes it closer. Then once Holloway does this rotation, and we get to this point, except assuming that Conor did do this and he keeps it, then he can bring his knee to the mat on the other side of his head, leaving just his shin on the back of Holloway's head. Then Conor would fall to his left hip, so basically his chest and his eyes would be facing towards Holloway's knees and his feet, and he can go and crank the shotgun armbar from there. And with only a minute left, I would assume the reason why he moved to the high mount was because he wanted to get the armbar, because there would have been armbar opportunities previously, as we've already shown in this. And that's just the submission that Holloway was offering up. So I don't know why Conor didn't secure that elbow. Ultimately, this sequence was a bit sloppy on Conor's part. Letting Max get out like that, not going for the sub with only a minute left. Because if you're going to take a high mount, you're doing it because you need the sub. You're not doing it for control. Control, you got to be over the hips in some form. In the 3/4 guard, in the half guard, in the close guard. Those are the biggest control positions. It's not up here in this high mount. So I'm not sure what Conor was going for. Maybe he just hesitated a little bit, failed to execute a little bit, and that's completely understandable. But ultimately, it was just beautiful work from Conor, just staying low. And even once the back is there, he's not chasing the back. Notice how he's not running for that seatbelt. That's not what Conor wants to do. Conor wants to do damage, like finish the fight. And sometimes you get on somebody's back, like what we saw with Islam and Volkanovski. And even though you got back control, you are not able to effectively do that much damage. And you're not really effectively able to win the fight. And if you lose back control, a lot of the time that can be because the guy spiraled and got on top of you. Now he's top close guard. And I'm not sure if that's exactly what we saw with Volk and Islam or not. But back control, I wouldn't say I want that traditional BJJ back control over a 3/4 mount or just a good top control position where I'm over top of his hips and I'm denying him his ability to get up and I'm able to ground and pound. And that's what you really want. You want to deny somebody's ability to get up and you want to effectively ground and pound for MMA. And I think this is just beautifully done by Conor McGregor. Beautifully done. So this was an awesome fight to study. I can't wait to break down some more. This right here was the biggest mistake, is moving from the 3/4 to the full mount, where Holloway was able to bridge. He should have just stayed in the 3/4, and then he could have worked a free. And especially if he did want to go to mount, he's got to free that elbow right there. He's got to free that before he goes to the mount, because this 3/4 mount is holding Holloway's knees down onto the mount on this side. So there's no way Holloway's going to bridge to his left over in this direction. If Holloway's knees are over in this direction, it's just not going to happen. And Conor has the free arm on this side. Holloway bridging over in this direction isn't going to accomplish anything either, right? So moving to the mount there was, I can confidently say, was the mistake, and especially moving to the arm under the circumstance that this elbow was trapped. Although he did keep his knee out wide, which maybe made him feel like he was going to be able to stop that bridge. No, he brought it back in before the bridge, so maybe that knee wasn't in consideration. But nevertheless, it was just a beautiful grappling and ground control display by Conor McGregor, and I'm really enjoying filming these breakthroughs and giving my thoughts on what I'm seeing in these fights. So if you like it, let me know. Peace.